Welcome friends, welcome back to Sophisticakes by Mary. For this video, I'm going to do something a little different in a way. From my typical videos, I do a lot of pastel colored and neutral colored cakes, and this time I decided to do something a little bit more vibrant. With winter being here and the dull, drab weather, let's do something vibrant. So this one is all piped buttercream. These are the colors I chose. Now I'm starting with an already pre-filled and crumb-coated cake that had been chilled in the refrigerator for about 20 minutes before starting this technique. I'm just using a regular 16-inch piping bag that I had cut a hole in the tip about a ½ inch wide so that I didn't have to go back and fill in a lot with the a smaller cut bag. It just is easier and less time consuming to have the bag cut in a little bit bigger of a hole. If I wanted finer lines, I would have cut them in a smaller hole. So I'm just randomly piping some lines, trying to keep in mind the distance between each piped line because I have 3 colors total to pipe. And I want to make sure that I didn't get too much of any one color, and I wanted the placement to be kind of pre-thought out, but random at the same time. Just kind of keep in mind what you're putting next to each other. Because you don't want to get 2 sections of the same color next to each other and have nowhere to go with the color variation. So just keep it in mind. And then once I got the base color or base piping on the entire cake, I went back over it and made sure I had any holes filled in. Once you got all of your holes filled, do one rough scrape down of the buttercream. Now this is going to look ugly at this point, but it will make sense once we get to the final scraping. We're just kind of smoothing it out is what we're doing. And once you get that done, pop it in your freezer for, I would say, a good hour. And in the meantime, we're going to go ahead and make our chocolate decorations. I'm just using parchment paper that I just wrinkled up in my hands. And this is just melted candy melts, chocolate flavored candy melts. You could use whatever chocolate you want. This is just what I happen to have. Any of them will work just fine. And just smoothing it out a little bit. We want the rough texture on the outside, but I just want to make sure that I get them the size that I want by spreading them with my offset spatula. And once you get those on there, pop them in your freezer or your refrigerator to firm up. I did that at that point so that I could have them firming up and drying while I was doing this scraping. Now this does take a long time, and I use American buttercream, and I feel like a Swiss meringue or an Italian meringue would probably work better for a scraping method like this. This works, it just takes a little more time, and what ends up happening is that you get the buttercream wants to kind of roll up on itself once it gets to a certain temperature. There's kind of that sweet spot of where it scrapes off, but doesn't roll up, and I haven't quite got to that point yet, so I'm just working with it at this point. And if you do find that your buttercream is getting too soft, go ahead and pop it back in your freezer to firm up again. If your colors are blending into each other too much, that's what you need to do. It's just getting too soft. Now just have patience with this. This is another point in the game where it's going to get ugly before it gets pretty. You just have to remember that pattern is underneath there, and keep scraping, spraying it with water. You could work with a hot metal spatula or a scraper if you want, dipping it in hot water. That works as well too. Everybody just has their preference. And for my small hand size, I kind of like these plastic scrapers. They're a little bit less fatigue on my hands. And don't be afraid to go over those patterns. Even if you're scraping up and down or kind of at a diagonal like I'm doing, that's fine. That is absolutely fine. Just don't scrape too deep in that section because then you'll have a hard time leveling out the surface again. And at this point, my buttercream is getting a little soft, but I was so close to done that I just wanted to keep going with it. And I'm just pulling that ragged edge in towards the middle and then filling in with some of the pink buttercream. You could use any of the colors you wanted. I just think that the lighter color is going to be a little less obvious that the pattern is not on top. It's going to be a little more seamless, I guess. Smooth it out and just kind of scrape the sides and pull them in again. I'm just putting it back in the refrigerator to wait to be decorated because I needed to get these sails finished. I'm calling them sails. They're chocolate shards, whatever you want to call them. See how that really neat texture on these? I think that's really pretty. I've done this quite a few times. It's a really quick and easy way to kind of finish off a cake when you don't have any idea how you want to decorate it. And this one I didn't have any idea because of the pattern. I really debated on what I was going to add to it. I didn't want to do anything too gaudy and really detailed because there was enough going on. Gaudy is not a good word, but you know what I'm saying. There was enough going on with the pattern and the vibrant colors that I wanted to do something a little bit more neutral, but something that's going to pop. And what's going to do that? A metallic finish. Always for me, a metallic finish works really well. And this is just silver luster dust that I'm brushing onto the chocolate with nothing added to it. It's really easy to add a metallic or any kind of a pearlescence or any kind of a luster dust to chocolate. And just make sure you're getting it in all those nooks and crannies if you're wanting a more seamless look. You don't have to. You could just go for the high points if you want to. And then, of course, I have to tie it in with some silver paint. And it's the same luster dust mixed with Everclear. You could use vodka, you could use lemon extract. There are a few different ways that you can make a paint out of it, but I find the Everclear works better for me because I can do it in one coat. And I know there's a lot of people can't use the alcohol. So in that case, a lemon extract or a rejuvenating spirits, if you can get a hold of that, those work well too. And I'm just kind of picking the points where my colors were not maybe blended, or they were kind of blending in a little bit into each other, or I didn't get a clean line. This is a good way to hide those parts. And just make sure that you're spacing them so you don't have too much in one space. And now it's time to add those chocolate pieces. I just kind of shoved them into the buttercream and maybe added a little bit of buttercream behind them to hold them into place. And there it is, all done. I think it's really cool. Something a little bit different than my standard. I hope you like it too. And remember, you can do this in any color pattern that you want, or a pattern and color palette. Anything would work just fine. I hope you liked it. I hope you subscribe and ask me any questions if you have them. So thank you guys so much for taking the time to watch my video. And if you'd like to watch some other videos, go ahead and click on the link to one of these other videos shown here. And if you would like to Check out my other social media. I am on Facebook and Instagram under the same name, Sophisticakes by Mary. And please take the time to share, like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell so that you know when I upload another video. Thank you so much, and we'll catch you on the next tutorial.